Hello, friends. We're back again. Welcome to Fightful. It is March 16th. If you didn't already know, because God knows they hit you over the head with the date. I feel like there's some sort of significance to that. What? Anyway, welcome to Fightful. This is our Monday Night Raw post show. No, I'm not Sean Ross Sapp. I actually should put the names up on, because if you don't know who we are, I don't know what's going on with y'all. Here they are. There you go. I'm at Joel Pearl, thejoelpearl.com on Blue Sky. Normally I'd say, and then it's time to get in the weeds, but that's not the show we're doing tonight. I've got with me the host of Grapsody and a million other stuff that goes on in the wrestling world and beyond. Phil Lindsey, how you doing?
I'm good. I'm good. How are you?
Good. This was a Raw. There were listen. You know what? I'll give them the moments that needed to happen to get them closer to building that WrestleMania card. Some things look good. Some things I'm still waiting, and I'm gonna see. There were a couple of little things, couple of big things. Obviously, we're gonna talk about Brock and Oba Femi is now the direction that they're going. We're gonna talk about the final segment of the night. We're going to talk about what happened with Roman. We're going to talk about what's going on with Randy Orton after what happened on Friday and the little dial-up segment that he had, because I don't know what happened with his internet, but it was not good.
It was very grainy. Looked like he was on Skype.
Skype shut down years ago. I don't know what kind of Teams ass support conversation that was. But we're here. So while you're doing that, why don't you go ahead, leave a thumbs up on the video, and subscribe to us here at Fightful. If you are doing it for free, we appreciate it. If you want to send us a few bucks, we can do that via Super Chat, or you can also donate a Humper Chat over at humperchats.com. Any amount, get your question or your statement read on the air. I promise I can speak, and I haven't been up since 6 a.m. watching wrestling and talking about it. I promise we're good. And also, if you want to support the lifeblood, FightfulSelect.com is where you go. We got lots of news, lots of notes, including some stuff on Royce Keys, who did have a match on Main Event tonight and could be heading towards a more on-air time going into Mania. We're going to find out soon enough. But Phil, we gotta start with the elephant in the room. You're old.
Yeah, this was a segment this week. Are we going to get into everything from the segment? Are we going to go with that to lead everything off? Or?
We should probably open up with Roman arriving. Okay, we're early in the night. We've had a match, and it's a Roman shows up, and the Usos meet him. And Roman says to the boys, he says to the Usos, "Consequences when you run your mouth." Then he grabs the camera and does the look at me, and he says, "Hey, you guys should be offended too for what Punk said last week." And he said, "Before Mania, after Mania, do whatever you want to him. But at WrestleMania weekend, Punk belongs to Roman Reigns." Yes. And then later on, they're in the tribal chief room, and they're doing just back to the Bloodline saga when they were all hanging out together in Roman's room. Roman gaslights his brothers again, talking about being a father, about how their fathers were on the road all the time and missing all their events. But Roman, meanwhile, these kids are his legacy, and he's gonna be home for them. But if you think about it, the Usos are out there weekly.
Yes.
They got kids. They're doing it. It's crazy.
This is what was wrong with the stuff last week. And I thought the segment last week with the Usos and Punk was brilliant. I thought they did a great job of going from doing like a straightforward back and forth promo where Punk shines and really doing kind of a Bloodline style segment last week. And I think because of the continuity, it worked very well. But the problem is you cannot get past the fact that there is no real good reason for him to not be there in the build to WrestleMania. And him being Roman Reigns, there is no good reason why. We're 5 weeks away from WrestleMania, and he's done 3 appearances since winning the Royal Rumble. There's no good excuse you can give us as to why, especially after 2 weeks ago, Punk brought up his dead father, and then he doesn't show up. The Usos come out and they tell him he's got to apologize. They're getting in his face. They got all this energy for him. And then this week, Roman hops out of the car like he did something like, consequences to your actions. Am I right? You didn't do anything. You weren't there. You didn't show up. You did nothing. Then he comes to the camera and goes, "Hey, if anybody else wants a piece of this guy, by the way, y'all can pull up. But WrestleMania, that's my time to shine. Main eventer time right here. Your boy." Yeah, but again, you did nothing. Then he goes back into the into the locker room, has that conversation with them where he says, yeah, people keep calling me a part-timer. The whole world can call me a part-timer as long as my family knows the truth. Let's rewind and do a little history lesson, because I tweeted this after he said it. Roman Reigns in 2018, when Brock was really the first of his kind doing this part-timer thing as champion and coming back and doing the pay-per-views, Roman was the guy saying, we got to get the belt off of this guy. We got to give the opportunities back to the guys that are here, the full-time wrestlers. And now he's telling you, I don't need to do that. And if you're a part-timer, you're a bad father. Huh?
Right? That's how it works.
Like, I mean, for him to, and I get it. Like, yeah, the whole Roman character as the tribal chief, as a heel, as a tweener, is a hypocrite. He's a gaslighter. But to sit there and say all of that, and then the Usos are like, yeah, you're right. I felt like, if anything, it just proved what Punk said about them last week, that they don't hold him accountable for anything. They just basically run around as his flunkies and his yes men when they're there. When he's there, they're afraid to stand up to this guy.
And so not only that, you've got Jey Uso sitting there saying, I still want my apology. And you've got Roman continuing on with I don't need an apology, but you guys do. So he's doing the bidding again. Again, the gaslighting continues.
Exactly.
And Roman continues to never apologize for his own actions.
Yeah. And then again, like, all of this stuff about, oh, you should be offended about what he said to my father or about my father. But you didn't do anything. You didn't do anything last week, and then you had a chance to do something this week. Still didn't do anything.
So we get to the final segment of the night. And when it looked like there was going to be something going on, we get whatever we got. First of all, Roman coming out and getting the pyro on pyro intro. Hilarious. I love that. Give that man the most absurd entrances. He comes out, gets the pyro. They come back from the break, he gets the pyro. It's just perfect. But either way, he points out, I'm the beginning, I'm the middle, and I'm closing the show. He calls out CM Punk. And Punk comes out. He takes his time getting to the ring. He grandstands with everyone. He shakes hands, he's kissing babies, all the things. And then he goes on and he says, you call me Phil as if it's going to get under my skin, but I'm not going to call you Joe because there's a Joe that I like. Of course, he's shouting out Samoa Joe, or as I like to call him, Mimosa Joe, Samosa Joe, Ragosa Joe. That's just what I call him. It's all love. And he also tries to call Roman Reigns Titty Tiaki. And I'm like, is that a Sonny Siaki reference?
Yeah.
Is it supposed to be?
Yeah, I mean, of course, Roman's name on NXT was Liaki before he became Roman. And of course, when he was on, when Punk was on Art of Wrestling podcast with Colt Cabana, that's who he referred to him as, Liaki.
Amazing. And then he continues with I'm in your head, Roman. And this becomes the crux of the entire promo from Punk. He's in his head. And of course, he's got to do how does it feel to be alive when it's a terrible economy and we're all here. It took 2 hours and 28 minutes to get there. So at least we got that far. And then the conversation shifts to Roman talking about who's main evented what, and they do a comparison. And you know what? This is the one thing I like about the promo is that they do, if the world title is about who is the best in the business and who is the top guy, that is a worthy point to bring up. Who's main eventing the big shows, who's main eventing the house shows and the big loops in Europe and things like that. That I like. But then they go back to who's the real tribal chief, and they ask your wife who the top earner is. And meanwhile, Punk just tries to block Roman from getting out of the ring. And then he says, I'm in your head. I'm in your head. And then he says, the Punkamaniacs are going to cheer for me. And then Roman calls him old and Punk gets mad and punches him.
Yeah, I feel like this is comfortably the worst segment they've had since Royal Rumble. And
Go ahead.
Yeah, and I get some of the ideas here, but I think the execution was poor, and I think the execution was even more so poor because we waited 2 weeks for this because Roman wasn't here last week, and after we got a good segment last week without him, and then he shows up this week, and you make this the main event segment, you're hyping it up for the entire episode, and then this is what we get, like no physicality, like just the same catchphrases, the same cookie cutter stuff that we've been getting. Like, bro, we're 4 weeks in at this point. We're longer than 4 weeks in. We're in March. WrestleMania is next month. Royal Rumble was almost 2 months ago. And out of 3 segments, this is where we're at. We're still doing these kind of promos where you've got enough time for Roman to come out there and do double pyro, like you said, and stand there and bask in his glory and like tell the crowd to acknowledge him. We're still doing all the catchphrases. And then finally, when Punk comes out there and he's waiting for him to come out there again, this is a guy that talked about your dead father. You let this guy walk all the way around the ring. You let this guy play in your face. Never at once did he get out that ring and get in his face. Nothing. He put no pressure on this guy. Jey Uso and Jimmy put more pressure on Punk last week. And yes, that's supposed to be the point that, again, he keeps saying, I do everything for his family. You don't really care about your family, because if that was the energy, why you continue to let this guy play? So, again, you let him get all the way around the ring, come in the ring. We're, again, still cutting the same kind of promos. It's business talk. Oh, well, I'm the real main eventer here. It's commerce, right? Like, oh, you're still talking about me being a part-timer. Well, talk to your wife. Like, what that got to do with you and him? That don't change nothing. Or I thought the worst that it got here when he's just like, enough. Like, you're not faster than me. You're not stronger than me. Like, you can't do anything better than me, and you're old. All of these things being said, all right, you said all of that. You didn't put no hands on this guy after anything he said 2 weeks ago, and then you let him sucker punch you. No, you look like a chump. This made Roman look like a colossal chump.
It does. We got a chat from W. Cares. I think this is Dave Coss saying, bury you next to your father, followed by a great Usos and Punk segment, and we get you're old. Yikes. Lots of weeks left with them, but both promoted, but damn, started so promising too. Shout out Samoa Joe. So this is the one thing that SB3 has pointed out multiple times over on In the Weeds, which we do every morning over on Fightful Overbooked, our sister channel. And SB3 and Jeremy and myself have all pointed this out. They unloaded the clip in the first interaction, the first encounter. When they did that hot open to that angle, everyone was excited. Everyone was ready for it. And since then, we're not anywhere near where that started. And if you're going to bring up, you're going to be buried next to your dead father, and the reaction to that is, say I'm sorry. Say you're sorry.
Yep.
You're sorry yet? Are you sorry yet? No, you're old. It doesn't fit. It
doesn't work. And yeah, I already see people in the chat like, oh, this is Chicago Phil standing up for Chicago native. No. This guy told you in this promo, I am a gold medal habitual line stepper. This guy has stepped over the line with you multiple times. When he was not in this company, you were going on every interview saying this guy don't matter. He's not a needle mover. Ain't nobody thinking about him. Okay, well, you're doing a match with him because he's the biggest star available. Make it make sense. The consistencies aren't there. Then you sat there and said, hey, you're wearing that belt as a joke. Didn't you tell Seth Rollins that belt was the second prize belt and that you didn't care about that belt?
Why do you care about it now?
And then you said, oh, well, I said I hate you, but, I'm really just mad because you're holding that belt.
So I'm curious, because you and I don't get to do this much. Who is the babyface and who is the heel in this match? Do you have a theory about this?
I mean, well, at this point, Punk is doing more and more heelish things, but I think people are not seeing that Roman is clearly a heel here. Like his character has not changed, and more than one person on screen has pointed this out for the past year or so. This character has not changed. He's the same guy that he was as the tribal chief. He's still using people. He's still manipulating people. He still doesn't care about his family as much as he claims. It's still about business. It's still about money. It's still about power, bro. He still comes across looking like a big hypocrite in all of this, because it's like, hey, you said all of those things, but then when he was in your face, you did nothing. Like I said, you've been talking about this guy in interview for years. He's standing right there, and you did nothing. The guy put hands on you, and you just laughed like, ha, 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 got me, old man. Like, what?
So this is 2 weeks in a row where the other person gets knocked down and does nothing about it. When it comes to who's the babyface, who's the heel, again, talking about this on the morning show, the idea here is that Punk is the only person in all of WWE, possibly all of pro wrestling, where you can get the polarizing choose your own adventure approach to your opponent. And this is the one time where I can sit here and say, like, this really is a pick whoever you want. There's no loser here. But I think by the end of Mania, I think we're firmly going to see CM Punk as the heel, as the bad guy. I think he might just cheat to win and retain that title, and Roman is going to get screwed somehow. And if anything is true about last year, where he said, this is my last, this Mania is the last on my current contract, and I just want to do one more, that's it. Maybe there's a story in there. But regardless of that, I think that there is a room where CM Punk comes in, cheered as the babyface coming into Mania, and he comes out being booed for something nefarious that he does to retain that title. And that Roman Reigns get legitimately screwed by somebody who is that much more important than he is.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if the Usos come out and act like they're going to help him, and then they don't.
Yeah,
and they're just like, you gotta do this one on your own. You said you were going to do it on your own, right? Because that's been a big part of this program of Punk telling him you can't get anything done on your own. You don't have the Shield anymore. You don't have Heyman. You don't have the Bloodline, and so now it's just you. And I mean, again, for the last few weeks, where it's just you looking kind of chump. I don't know.
And if you're going to do this whole, he's the part-timer and he's just got to build to that next, maybe last Mania match. If you're going to do The Rock and you're going to do it in Saudi, maybe it's The Rock that helps CM Punk retain somehow. Or maybe it's by The Rock's interference or something that eventually gets us to that point. That's kind of where my brain is at. But we'll see. I mean, the idea here is that you can choose your own adventure until someone does something so nefarious that you have to pick a side. And even then, some people are still going to stand with the guy that they like.
I still think it's funny that people have been like, man, this only works if you take off the cuffs. We got one segment last week where Punk finally took off the cuffs and said something chaotic, and I was like, oh man, we're off to the races. And then we went right back to safe promos. It's just like, but if you're going to do this, and I see people's point when they say that, they unloaded the clip, they got a lot out in that first segment. There's still so much lore behind these guys that they haven't touched. There's still so many things you could say, but it's like, bro, if you're just going to do safe segments, it's not going to work. You got to, Punk is at his worst and best, really. He's at his best when he's chaotic. If you're not going to let this guy be out there and be chaotic and just say what he wants to say, if you're going to send him out there to do like, Punk a maniac and like catchphrases, like nobody wants that from Punk.
Yeah, they want to see him be chaotic. They do want to see him inject that stuff because that is what Punk does, and that is why he gets away with being that polarizing figure. And it's not just a marketing thing. He tosses shit around. That's what does happen. Unfortunately, that hasn't been his character as presented in WWE since his return. So this is the opportunity for them to start leaning into it. In hopes that he doesn't buy his own hype. So that's the big question, is how willing is Punk to separate himself from how he feels about what he does?
I thought the time, because I've been waiting for them to mention any of the AEW lore of him being away. I thought the time to do it was here. If Punk would have punched him after he said, cry me a river or something like that, the meaning behind it gets totally different because you're referencing real life stuff at that point. But him just calling him old, that was really anticlimactic. And I thought the build up throughout the segment to get to that point was good, but to get to that and then that was it, that felt really flat.
I think they're starting to see how people are feeling about these segments, and I'm hoping that they're going to take that into advisement and start pushing on something. I don't know if the AEW stuff's going to come up just because I don't know if Punk wants to go there, but if they can keep it really off to the side while still making it not too inside baseball, then they can get away with it.
But they don't even have to outright bring up AEW, even though
they'll say what happened while you were away type of thing.
Even though Punk in this segment brought up his last AEW opponent. You don't have to.
He used to work for the company, so clearly it's okay.
Yeah, you don't have to outright bring up AEW, but he could have made even the slightest reference to Jack, and that would have made a world of difference here.
Yeah, but we like him now, so I can't really, can't do much about that.
But I mean, it not particularly about Jack, but just the stuff that happened between him and Jack.
I get it. Big Dreadhead says, calling Punk old makes him crash out. I don't know, man.
That true. Was yeah, for him to say all of that stuff and be like, oh, I'm in your head, and this whole time I'm cool, calm, and collected. You can't get to me. Well, you're old. How dare you?
When has Punk ever had a problem with his age? He said it himself. He's got bags under his eyes and he's tired, and no one's ever ragged him for his age. So that's the one thing where it's just like, is Punk just on edge because of something else and old just got to him? Like, what was the reasoning? Who decided that this was the answer to the climax of this entire promo where the show ran through Roman being Roman? What was that idea? Like, whose thought was that?
Yeah, I don't know. And I mean, I don't think that hits as hard when Roman is also 40.
That's true.
Roman is 40. Punk is not that much older than him. Punk's 47, but like, this is different if Roman is like in his 20s or like early 30s. Roman's 40. So what?
Daffy adding in, old Phil, really old, set your boy off.
Hey man, listen, we saw what set him off in that footage, so I don't know. Yeah. But that's why, again, if you could have,
I got it.
I don't know.
TJ Ridgeway adding in, I ain't gonna lie, y'all. Pre-OTC Roman would have never let this slide. OTC feeling over the counter. I like that, but also this has been the Roman Reigns return character. He is the same guy. He's maybe just a little lighter because he doesn't have the belt. He doesn't have the serious guy by his side. He doesn't take anything seriously, but when family's involved, he invokes his own brand of seriousness and gaslighting. That is what the Roman character has become.
Yes. But yeah, this is again 2 WrestleMania builds where this guy talks so much about family and what family means to him. And when Cody said, your ancestors would be ashamed of you, The Rock slapped Cody. Roman didn't. The Rock stepped up and slapped him. And this time, your family's brought up again. And the Usos have all this energy. Like, you got to apologize. You notice in this segment, not once did Roman say, hey, man, you better apologize. Not once.
If you really wanted to do the AEW stuff, you can just mention how many times you got hurt when you won the damn thing and how you couldn't stay healthy when you won it. I guess that was the Drew thing. The Drew story was kind of with that too.
You could have done that, but I mean, you're never going to get over. You're never going to beat Mox saying CM Punk, fragile ego, fragile body. You're not going to get past that. Like, that's still one of Mox's best promos ever. Like, you're never going to outdo that promo.
That's fair. But you know what? You can outdo everything if you just subscribe to nordvpn.com/Fightful.
There are so many reasons to check out nordvpn.com/Fightful. Let's go through a ton of them. Works on all operating systems and devices, even your router. Protect yourself on public Wi-Fi. Shield your data from snoops and criminals. Add extra layers of digital security to your life with the Password Manager, the File Encryption Tool, the Threat Protection Pro. It's the fastest VPN in the world. They've got a global server network, 24/7 tech support, and if you're a wrestling fan, oh man, are you in for it? All of the programs that WWE runs, you can watch with one Netflix account with nordvpn.com/Fightful. You can get pay-per-views at a much more affordable price. This service pays for itself in the money that you are going to save. nordvpn.com/Fightful.
Tell you what, man, living in Canada, that Netflix deal, it's good to have. And you should get it with nordvpn.com/Fightful. Not my best segue. I have done stronger, but let's face it, this was a very important conversation, and you all need to hear this going into WrestleMania. Go plug into Nord. I promise it'll be worth your time. Raw opens up. I don't know if there's anything else you want to get into with the Punk stuff. We're pretty into it.
We got to it. We probably gave it more thought and time than this show did.
That's a problem. And also Gray's in the chat mentioning Nord for my AEW is a fantastic deal. Go ahead and get into it. You need it. You need it. Save yourself some money, because when somebody tells you how does it feel to be alive in the city that you're in and you're paying too much rent and groceries are expensive, you save some money using that VPN and using my AEW with that and using Netflix to get your cheaper AEW and WWE content. Trust me, just go ahead and do it. Show opens up. Seth Rollins and the putties are back. Sorry, the people in black hoodies. Phil, I was telling you before we got on the air, it's amazing that they're putting us together again, because the first time that you and I got put together was for the War Games post show, and that's where we were introduced to another black hoodie. And now the black hoodies have multiplied. They have done very well for themselves since we last saw them. And shout out to that one guy in the crowd who had the sign that said, "I got it. We need one more masked man."
Just one more.
Just one.
Just add one more to the mix.
So Seth Rollins says he created the vision. He'll be the one to kill it. And then if you're standing next to Paul Heyman, consider yourself marked for death. I don't like it. And I've made myself very, very open about this. I don't like when you're in a promo and you talk about killing someone. Because guess what? The one thing in wrestling you're never going to do is kill somebody. You're just not. You can't. You can, but you're not because it's wrestling. You do it in TNA, but even now they'll come back. Shout out to Ali. Paul Heyman comes out, does his best beat to shit look, because that's one thing that Paul's very good at. He's got pink eye and a faraway stare included. Good for him. And then Seth promises to cut Heyman out like a cancer. Heyman says he wouldn't miss this for the world, and he's effing with Seth. And then they do the FAFO thing, and who was telling Paul Heyman that FAFO was a good idea? And they continue to do FAFO anyway. And then he says FAF5, and out comes Brock Lesnar. I'm going to go non sequitur for a second. You ever look at his ears, Brock Lesnar's ears?
No.
Do you ever think if he can wear earbuds? Because like them cauliflower ears just kind of go into the eardrums. Just a thought.
Yeah, I don't know.
Anyway, Brock beats up the putties. He gets red-faced, gassed out, and he's confronted by Oba Femi. Oba Femi comes out and while he's doing his entrance, you can hear him say, "I don't care who he is," and he power bombs Brock Lesnar and puts his foot on Brock Lesnar, and he points to the WrestleMania sign, and immediately Kofi Kingston tweets out, "Avenge us," and I think that was probably the best social engagement of the night.
That's great.
And we're going to do Brock Lesnar versus Oba Femi. That is the WrestleMania match. It's not LA Knight. Yeah.
No.
I am looking forward to this. I'm also relatively nervous about how they put it together and who comes out on top. Your thoughts on Seth, the putties, and how we get to Brock and Oba?
Boy, this was a lot of rigmarole to get to from point A to point B. It still seems unclear if they know if Braun's going to be back. We still don't really know who Seth's opponent is going to be, but it has to be Braun at this point because we even laid out later in the night that Austin Theory and Logan are probably going to challenge for the tag title. The tag titles, by the way, which the Usos have come out 3 weeks in a row not carrying. But I guess you got to leave your titles at home when you've committed to carrying Roman's bags again. So I don't know. I don't know. But yeah, this Seth coming out and cutting his promo of like he's gonna kill the Vision. It's just like, yeah, the bar is pretty low here. This thing's about dead. It's on its last legs. I guess you got to be the guy now to watch it struggle out there and stomp it out. But yeah, this is it's looking pretty worse for wear. It's just Logan and Austin Theory now. It's not gonna take much to murder this thing. Go ahead and take it out back and put a bullet in his head. It's enough. But
Old Yeller.
Yeah, it's just like, dude, like none of that really worked because like Division feel pretty toothless. Like there's no real interest here if Braun's not here. And I figure we're going to keep doing this until we get the reveal that Braun is cleared. I hope. God, I hope. But yeah, setting this up where Heyman comes out and he's looking disheveled. He's got the pink eye and he's selling the beating that Rollins put on him. And then he's just like, well, I still have my ace in the hole because I know you came out here talking about Division. No, I'm not going to call for any of those chumps. I'm going to call for Brock Lesnar, my real ace in the hole. And then he comes out there, beats up all the putty patrollers, gets in the ring. They try to get us to believe this is going to be the build to Brock versus Rollins. And, you know, Brock has said, well, Heyman had said in the segment before this is an open challenge. So I was like, okay, this went from an open challenge to now Brock's looking for a fight. And so I was like, yeah, no way I believe this is actually the match. And then that's when we get the Oba reveal. And I thought the Oba reveal actually worked really well. Him coming down to the ring, the crowd was very much into it because the crowd has wanted Oba to face Brock at WrestleMania from the very beginning. So I thought this was a good reveal. I thought it was very beneficial for Oba. Buddy, the symmetry of Oba using the last ride as his finisher. And that's what he hit Brock Lesnar here with. Brock Lesnar, the guy that ended the streak. Chef kiss. I don't know if that was intentional, but very well done.
I'm a fan of this. I look forward to watching these two beat the shit out of each other, for a lack of better term. My feeling with when it was talked about being LA Knight was they had a really easy story to tell, which was LA Knight stole the ambulance, kept Paul Heyman away from Brock. Brock was going to show up this week and be like, "Where is he?" And pardon me, I can say this because I am of the faith. He would come out and be like, "Where's my Jew?" And everyone would be like, he was taken away by LA Knights. That's what he would say it. That is what he's done. And then all of a sudden you would have LA Knight kind of show up and be like, "Yeah, I took him." And you would get a match between LA Knight and Brock Lesnar. And that would have been how they got there. You took Paul Heyman, so prepare to die. And then it would have been a squash for LA Knight, and 1, 2, 3 were done. Instead, much happier doing an Oba Femi match, which is something that people wanted to see, and you're going to get the meets and you're going to have a lot of fun. And I hope that they are going to give Oba Femi the win. I don't know what to expect.
Yeah, that is my immediate concern with this. Is I'm sure the match can be good, but if you're not putting Oba over at WrestleMania, what are we doing?
Yeah. Dave Koss saying, "Extremely well done swerve on the Rollins to Oba. I went from pure apathy to pure elation, fellas. If Oba loses, tell me there's no chance, please."
Yeah, you can't have Oba go to WrestleMania and lose, especially with where the company is right now, with the age problem this company has, and you've got to start pushing a young guy to the top of this pack. And Oba's ready, man. This guy is a ready-made main eventer. You've got a chance to do what you immediately did with Brock when he came in. Immediately have him come in there and beat people that matter and put him in a title picture. If you're not doing that at WrestleMania, I don't know why.
Yep. And additionally, 2 Raws in a row, no Gunther. I had Reign Gunther for Mania, but that's out. So what now? What would you guys like to see? Penta, LA Knight? I don't know.
It still feels like it's the Rey Mysterio match, if I had to guess. But it is very strange that he has not been on TV for 2 weeks in a row.
Yeah, you would expect Gunther would have some sort of centerpiece presentation, considering he's retired 3 of the biggest stars of the last God knows how many years. So you probably want to do that, or at least, do something about it. Instead, he's not there. They kicked him out with the AJ Styles goodbye, and he has never been seen since.
Never to have been seen again. That's kind of what doesn't make sense about Brock doing an open challenge, because if anybody would want to enter the open challenge, wouldn't it be Gunther? And that kind of tells you everything you need to know about Brock potentially losing at WrestleMania, because you could have just done the Gunther match and Gunther could have just beat him. If Gunther's not going to beat him, who is?
I know a lot of people are on the Gunther is going to retire Brock at SummerSlam train. I just want to remind people, the person that brought that up in an offhanded comment in the interview is a great liar. So yes. I don't know what to expect, but I also don't put all my chickens in that basket. I like the idea of it. I think it's great.
Of course.
But it's a good way to get people talking, but a great way to get people over expecting. So I don't know what's going to happen with Gunther, but I would like to see him on the card somewhere. I don't need to see him go for a title. I think he's above that if it's not the world titles, and those are already spoken for. He should go after someone's career. But at the same time, him retiring Rey Mysterio should turn into Dominik being, "No, you son of a bitch, I wanted to do that." And then why would Dominik step to Gunther? Why would he do that?
Yes.
So we'll have to see. But either way, Dominik Mysterio was not on the show tonight, even though he did have a pretty good AAA Mega Campeon match against Vikingo at Rey de Reyes. He won, retained his title, and now Vikingo cannot challenge again for that championship, which leads me to believe that we're doing Dom and Finn for the AAA Mega Campeon title. For the first time ever, a AAA title is defended at WrestleMania, and you get those guys on the call. Yeah,
it does kind of feel like that's where they were going. I made the comparison on Grapsy when I talked about it. Like, yeah, we've been saying all this time that we want Finn to be a world champion, and this is probably going to be their way of like giving him a here AAA make a championship, which really feels like him winning the NBA Cup and not winning the actual championship. But
as long as he can host a banner in some arena in Mexico that's not called Arena Mexico,
it's gold. So what do you mean?
It's fine. You know what? I'm fine with Finn going to AAA and having a good run. I don't mind it. I'm sure he's happy.
Yeah,
he's good.
Yeah, I mean, of course, the after effect of him being able to possibly main event AAA shows and like have matches with the luchadors down there. I'm sure that will, if that's the direction, that will work out. But just like all this time of him building this storyline this year, being like, yeah, I want to be a world champion, and having this stuff with Punk just to then potentially win the AAA Mega Championship is, I don't know. I don't know if that works.
Folks, get in your super chats, get in your Humper chats. Grande Kaiser Kano won the Rey de Reyes sword, and he gets a Mega Championship spot in the future. He does not get to use the sword, I'm sorry, but unfortunately, he did win against Grande Gable Americano, because that's the only way I can really differentiate these two at this point. It's Grande Gable, Grande Kaiser. That's just the way it's going to be. And if you try to tell me otherwise, I'm just not going to believe you. My notes had it otherwise. Why did I say that Kaiser lost that match? Anyway, Gable's tights ripped in a very unfortunate area. I'm sorry. This was a really solid match between the two. Kaiser basically gets a win after Ryo and Gable get into it on the outside. Bravo loads up Kaiser's mask, and then Gable hits a flying headbutt and knocks him out because Kaiser's got the thing in his head. The piece of metal. Is it a coin? Is it metal? Who knows? But it's on his head. And Kaiser rolls over and gets the win. And the first thing I thought of was, do the Creeds have masks that fit yet? Because these 6 guys need to have a match and just get it over with.
Yeah, I was really hoping at the end of this, and I agree, this was a good match. I was really hoping at the end of this that Grande Americano just unmasked OG Grande Americano, and we just got this over with and just let Gable be Gable again. I was hoping that's where it was going to end last week after he got cursed. But for some reason, we're still doing this. I don't know why. You don't need 4 wrestlers doing this gimmick. I thought that during the Rumble, and I continue to think that now. I just want Chad Gable to be Chad Gable, guys. Ludwig is infinitely better doing this gimmick. He's very funny. The crowd really likes him. When he does the shows in Mexico, he's extremely over. Just let him have it. Just let Gable be Gable. It's okay.
Yeah. And these 2 guys know how to wrestle so well that it won't matter if you unmask one, because they're just going to keep doing this stuff. The rolling DVD from Kaiser looked amazing. Gable's Chaos Theory is fantastic, and he continues to hit it in a deadlift position. Referee gets distracted. That's how we get to that finish. But it was a good match, and they just need to get to the end of the story. But I don't know if that's going to happen in AAA or if they're going to do that over, around Mania time. Just do mask versus mask. Just get it over with.
Just get it over with. By the end of this match, I was yelling at my screen like Krusty. He's spinning a ball on his finger. Just take it. What are we doing?
Steve Allen online too. Give him 10 grand. Sorry.
I thought the generals were due.
God bless. Danhausen has a t-shirt cannon now, and one of those head mics, and he's the most Pee Wee Herman wrestler ever, and I love it.
Bro, I cannot believe that people got so upset over this crate reveal of Danhausen, because I knew we would get to this point that all of this zany stuff would work, because it's not that hard. You give the guy a few minutes of backstage segments. He's going to do some comedy stuff. It's going to be funny. He's continuing to put over the merch. You've got him filming stuff next to the merch booth. It's doing great. The social media stuff they do with him is actually funny. This isn't that difficult, so I knew this would be fine. The last thing you need to do with him is put him in there and decide, okay, who are you going to put him up against to wrestle? Who can he lose to? Because that's what's making it so difficult to put Royce Keys on TV, because it's like, okay, we got a new guy. Who do we put him in there with that would be interesting? Can he lose? Who would be willing to lose to him? You don't have all of those problems with Danhausen. You could just put him on TV for a few minutes and all of his stuff works.
Easy. And he's got a t-shirt cannon, and he just has to be funny, and he just has to be silly. And he says, "You are cursed," and everyone's into it. And that's all. He's the best clown.
Yes. He's been doing this for all of 2 weeks now.
Yeah.
And now every time we get a backstage segment with him, the pop gets louder for him. And when he says "you are cursed," it gets louder and louder every time. And it's going to keep happening because wrestling fans like catchphrases. Wrestling fans like bits.
Yep. And he's the only one on the entire show that gets to say something like, Danhausen 316 says, "Your ass is cursed." And no one else gets to do that.
Yeah. Yeah, I thought all this stuff with Kofi was very funny when he came in. He's like doing the hip gyrations, and he's like making all the references to the New Day. Kofi, comedic timing, perfect. When he goes to curse him, he throws Grayson Waller in a way. Very, very funny stuff.
I love the you are cursed. You are cursed. Only Danhausen can do that. Kofi saying, "No, I'm not scared of the voodoo," and Danhausen saying, "No, instead of voodooos, we'll do cursed crunch with teeth marshmallows." And both guys just being like, "That was 10 years ago."
Just years ago. We don't do bootios no more. All of that very, very funny because, of course, Kofi has done comedy stuff multiple times. He can play off of Danhausen well, and yeah, that stuff was great. I also like the Devon segment with Kofi last week, and I like that we got a payoff of it this week. And Grayson immediately comes in like, "What do you see in this guy?" And he's like, "Yeah, a lot of people have asked us, what do we see in you?"
It works. Let's talk about the Intercontinental title match. Penta defends against Dragon Lee. Again, a really great match. These two just let him go nuts, and they did. Penta cuts the promo early, as he does. He's saying he's ready and anyone can face him and I'll defend my title anywhere. Dragon Lee answers the challenge. This is only the third time that these two have had a singles match together, which is shocking, but they've had a ton of tag bouts between Lucha Bros, LFI, and everything in between. They had an incredible match between the two of them. If you just want to see straight up like WWE Lucha style, these two guys did it. Nasty back and forth kicks midway through the match, and Dragon Lee adding the Styles Clash to his repertoire is a nice addition. A little paying homage to AJ, and just a crowd being into it helped the match as well. And Dragon Lee looked good in defeat because you needed to do something with him. He can't just be a guy who comes out and while he loses doesn't go anywhere with it. So a nice opportunity, a little bit of depth, and Penta wins with the Mexican Destroyer. I personally wish he would stick with Made in Japan or the Penta Driver as his finish, but he does it fast enough that this works as a finish for him, as long as the other guy can follow up with it too.
Yeah, I thought this was a really great match. I think the strength of Penta since he's come to WWE continues to be his promos. And this is a guy that is phenomenal in ring. And I think that they had really done him a disservice in AEW by not letting him talk more. And we continue to see that with him doing the open challenges. And this is just such a perfect concept for him because he has good matches. And I wouldn't have guessed we would see Dragon Lee on TV after the whole unmasking with Gunther, before Gunther, but here we are. And Dragon Lee's phenomenal. He came out here, had a tremendous match with Penta as well. No real surprises because both of these guys are really, really great wrestlers, which is another reason why I'm just like kind of shaking my fists at the clouds. Like, you've got these two great luchadors in your company. You have other great luchadors. You have a partnership with a whole company of luchadors, and you're doing this Grande Americano bit with 4 wrestlers on your roster. Why? I don't know why you need to do that, but I digress. Really, really fun match.
It was a solid, just a solid outing for these guys. I hope they bring it back. Hope they run it back because I wouldn't mind seeing it again. But we'll flip to the Women's Intercontinental Championship. AJ Lee defends successfully over Bayley. This match I expected to be really good considering Bayley and AJ worked together to get AJ ready for her singles match against Becky. And that was very open, not only on Fightful Select, but also across everything AJ did. Bayley and Lyra working with AJ. But this was great. You want to show some growth in the Bayley character? What did she not do when she got knocked to the floor and saw Michael Cole talking about her, possibly being a failure again? She didn't tell him to shut up. She just got back in the ring and kept working. I was like, yes, we have progress in a character. Bayley countering with the Shining Wizard into a half crab in the knee. Eventually, she misses the elbow. AJ turns it into the Black Widow. Bayley submits. Just a great dance partner to have in this match. I don't need to go beat for beat, but just a match where both women look really good. Bayley is getting more upset. She lost to Lady Flammer at Rey de Reyes. She's unraveling again, but she's not at the same time because later on, well, we can talk about that in a minute, but they hug afterwards, Bayley and AJ Lee. And AJ, this is the one we can get to. AJ Lee gets attacked by Becky Lynch after the match, and Becky goes and uses the Intercontinental title belt on AJ Lee. So it looks like we're going back to that for WrestleMania. But your thoughts on the match and what we're doing with AJ and Becky once again?
I thought the match was great. I think AJ has looked pretty good in all the matches so far. I thought the WrestlePalooza match was solid. And then the 2 matches so far she's had as a singles wrestler, I've enjoyed. She looks like she hasn't missed a beat. But you put her in there with 2 really good dance partners, 2 of the 4 horsewomen. So you can't really lose there. And I thought, like, for, the lore here is that Bayley helped her prepare. Of course, Bayley is a tremendous fan of AJ Lee. She has, talked about how much she wanted this match. So I was glad to see it. I thought it was interesting after what Bayley said in an interview about her music and how it was supposed to be a placeholder. We didn't get a Bayley entrance tonight. I'm crossing my fingers that means something, especially after the stuff we got with Lyra after this match and they hugged, and I was like, just bring back the Hugger theme song at WrestleMania. Just do it. It's going to get a big pop. Just do it. You don't have to do the whole thing. You don't have to bring back the inflatable Bayley buddies, but at least bring back her music.
They will. Later on, you mentioned this. Lyra is the entrance was during the ad break. So you did see Bayley's entrance, but it wasn't as prominent. Lyra's talking up Bayley and Bayley's upset. And Lyra yells, stop yelling at me. And she says she wants to get Bayley to WrestleMania because Lyra feels bad for what happened last year, which is a good little, year-to-year story that you can tell. And then Lyra's like, I'm going to get us both there because we're trying to save last year and Lyra should feel bad and blah, 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 blah. Yeah. And honestly, I'll tell you this much. I think that this is going to end with Lyra turning on Bayley the night after WrestleMania, but the Raw after WrestleMania. But that's just me. That's where I'm at. Asuka and Kyrie step up and they're like, oh, we could have beaten AJ tonight, blah, blah, blah. And it sounds like everyone's going for the women's tag titles in the end.
Yes. It sure seems like this is going to be a fatal 4-way or like a 5-pack match for the women's tag titles. And I'm not really mad at that. I think if you pay this story off of this year-long build of Lyra and Bayley getting to WrestleMania together this time and winning the tag titles, I think that could work. And you've got so much going into that match. You've got the Charlotte and Alexa stuff. You've got the Bellas back in the mix. That can be a good match. I was a bit disappointed that we still got Asuka in the mix with this Lyra and Bayley stuff this week because I'm just like, what is EO doing at WrestleMania? Like, what is the direction for EO? What's the direction for Asuka? And there's so many things like this on WWE programming where they'll set up something interesting and they'll get us on the hook like, oh, that was kind of cool. And then it doesn't go anywhere. And I feel like that is the epitome of the EO and Asuka stuff from last year where we were on. This was a good storyline and it hasn't paid off yet. We keep waiting for the payoff and it hasn't come yet. I don't know. And there's other things like that, like with Jay. Remember when Jay got attacked mysteriously and then did we ever get an answer as to who attacked him?
No. Well, no. Well, I mean, wasn't it the Vision in the end? They said they did it, but they didn't cop to it completely.
Okay.
The same thing with the Jacob Fatu thing. It was like everyone's saying, oh, it was Drew McIntyre, but Drew McIntyre said no, and then they never really picked it up.
Did you cheat on your chest test? No, absolutely not. Well, that works for me.
Good enough. Let's move on. But that's kind of the thing is some of these loose threads that keep getting left, unbound is kind of, it's really silly. But no one's gonna talk about who attacked who. Just gonna let it go.
Yeah, we're just gonna move on, and I hope that we've got something for EO. EO could end up in the tag match. I don't know who her partner would be, but I
think it'll be Maxxine Dupri because she's being in the background because we're bringing that back, by the way. The people being courted to things in the background, things happening in the background.
I saw that.
It took a break in the last few weeks on TV. They brought it back. SmackDown, it was Jade and BFAB talking, and tonight it was Austin Theory finds Maxxine sitting on the floor and consoles her, and then Logan Paul's like, "Oh, what we got over here?" Very creepy. But either way, looks like
no,
Maxxine.
That's going to be the Vision. Oh no, Seth, hurry, end it.
Bron Breakker should just look. It was like, look who we found. She's gonna be our ringer. She's gonna be our big winner. And then Bron Breakker should just walk up and look at her and be like, absolutely not, and then just walk away, and that's it. That's the segment.
He just kicks the door open and walks away.
Open this door. Dave Costa is a super chat saying Io Asuka is a must But boys, I'm steadfast on it, including Kyrie in the match. Have Kyrie turn at Madison Square Garden Raw, show Kyrie and Io are still unsure of each other, and let those three legends go. I don't hate that at all. I mean, if you're going to do a women's tag match on the way, you can do that and instead not go for them at WrestleMania and have these three have a triple threat. That's another option.
Yeah, I wouldn't be mad at the triple threat. I also don't hate the idea of it just being one-on-one and Kyrie's accompanying Asuka to the ring, because you've got plenty of storyline stuff that'll play off with that as well.
Yeah, exactly. Speaking of the Vision, Heyman's backstage, and Logan and Austin Theory, they're like, Seth's a dead man, and Heyman's like, no, that's what he wants. We have no leverage, but we need titles. Again,
we need gold.
We need gold. There's gold in those hills. And for some reason, leverage is power, but the tag titles, which are like the worst titles on the... Anyway, go after the Usos. Logan Paul and Austin Theory, they look like dumb frat bros when they're paired together in this case. And then afterwards, they only compound it by Logan Paul stepping back and be like, oh, and we're going to get LA Knight too. And I'm like, but he doesn't have any titles.
Yeah.
Why would you go after this guy?
Yeah. Yeah. I think the funniest thing about this is them coming in there like, yeah, we're going to get that Seth Rollins guy. And it's two of them saying this, and Paul Heyman's like, no, you can't attack him by yourself. That's what he wants. Like, he's basically making you guys look like two goobers. Like, go for the tag title. Don't attack Seth. Like, you can't beat him up, even though there's two of you.
Oh, God, it's just amazing. Speaking of amazing, Nattie defeats Maxxine Dupri. Listen, man, they just did the match, got in, got out. That was it. Sharpshooter, and we're done. Really, the only talking point, other than Maxxine getting invited to the Vision, is Nattie invited Danhausen to the dungeon on her social channel, and that's about it.
Yeah. Poor Nattie. I really liked the low-key legend stuff when she was doing it with GCW. And I was like, yeah, why don't they do this on TV and in regular fashion for WWE? Because this company is a monkey paw. When you ask for something, you're going to get it. But, oh boy, when you get it, it might not be what you thought. And yeah, this Nattie and Maxxine stuff is just going on too long, I think. I don't think it's helped Nattie in the long run. And then the stuff with Maxxine, it never felt like Maxxine was going to win anyway. And so you stretch this out just to have Maxxine lose, and now you're to a point where, okay, where do you go from here? I guess it's turning her and putting her in a Vision.
Gotta try something.
I guess. Yeah, but I thought the match itself was fine, but I think the thing that really harmed it is I never believed that Maxxine was going to win. Yeah,
they made her look fine, honestly, in the match. Yeah. Like, she didn't look terrible. It just wasn't a very well executed match in total. It's not good. Were you at Bloodsport when Nattie debuted that character last year?
Yes.
You were there. Okay, so was I. And I just remember being like, yeah, like you said, this is cool. This is something. This is absolutely something. And then it became what it's become. And she never got to bring it. It took a full year for her to get there with it.
Yeah, it's crazy. It took all this time to finally get it on TV, and then it got on TV, and it's kind of dying a slow death, unfortunately. Maybe they can turn it back around, but so far the crowd is just like not interested.
Io's going to ask Nattie to be her partner.
Oh, no.
Could happen. Randy Orton's supposed to have some sort of interview with Michael Cole after they replayed weeks and weeks of this. Well, not weeks, but multiple replays of what happened on Friday Night SmackDown. Randy's turned heel, and I know everyone's talked about how good or not good this is. I thought it was very good, but either way, what's not good is Randy's dial-up internet kind of giving him whatever that was. He's on the phone with someone, and he basically says, I'm not doing this interview right now. I'll be on SmackDown. And hey, Cody, wrestling has more than one royal family. So chat, wrong answers only. Who was Randy Orton talking to on the phone? Phil, right answers only. Who was Randy Orton talking to on the phone?
I mean, they clearly want us to think that it was potentially The Rock. I mean, I feel like that's the obvious thing that they're trying to hint at by bringing up like the family lineage. And again, this is the final boss being a thorn in Cody's side and continuing to make people turn on Cody. But I started this whole thing like, yeah, we know this guy Randy Orton's a heel now, because how rude, man. You're on the phone when somebody's trying to interview. Like, what are we doing around here?
Just 1 minute. I got to take this phone call. That's how everyone should do interviews from now on. None of this like cameras on and suddenly you got to hang up the phone. No, they should say, hold on, I'm on the phone. Don't just hang up when the camera's on. Just be like, hey, I'm in the middle of something. What are you doing in here? Go away. That's how it should play out. Randy honestly did the most authentic thing. I'm willing to put it down that The Rock's there. I'm willing to potentially put some money on it. And you know what? Someone who might have some money for you to put down soon will be the odds over on my bookie. Go check it out.
Hey guys, Sean Rossap here to tell you about mybookie.ag. Yes, you can bet on professional wrestling. I know a lot of people watching this know that they have some insight. They've got a little bit of a heads up. And if you think that you know more than the odds makers, head over to mybookie.ag. Use that code FIGHTFUL. Get a $50 bonus with a $100 deposit or a $100 bonus with a $200 deposit. They have lines on upcoming shows for WWE, AEW, as well as all other sports. But leave it a little bit of extra if you feel very confident in the direction of some of the booking, the direction of some of the storylines. You can bet on anything, anytime, anywhere with mybookie.ag. Use that code FIGHTFUL. Please only bet what you can, and please bet responsibly. mybookie.ag, bringing you the best experience from the best. mybookie.ag and the code FIGHTFUL.
Use it. Please bet responsibly. That's all I can ask. Dave Koss saying, I dug the grainy, gritty look to it. Cowboy Bob feels too on the nose. Rock feels like a pipe dream. You know what I'd love? KO. Kevin Owens. He and Randy are boys. KO hates Cody and kayfabe. I'm down. And I only care about this if Kevin Owens brings his big-ass son with him, because if wrestling has more than one royal family, you got to show me that there is a family lineage involved in the Kevin Owens bloodline.
Oh, that does make a lot of sense for it to be Kevin Owens, because I think again they want us to think it's going to be The Rock. But if the swerve is that it's Kevin Owens, and then that of course ties to the segments with Sami Zayn backstage on SmackDown.
I don't hate it, but again, just bring your big ass son. He's very big. He is just amazing. And Dave adding, I asked plainly, could Cody and Randy main event night 2? Could they? Yes. Will they? No, because Roman is Roman. That's the end of it. Cody is Cody. Cody's great. He is 1B.
Yes. Yeah, I think that Cody Randy should main event night 2, but at this point it's Roman. Listen, Roman came in and did 2 nights at WrestleMania 40. Then he humored you guys and did the night 1 main event. He'll be on night 2 this year, guys.
He's got to take it all the way to the top.
Yeah.
The Liv Morgan promo, I'm going to very quickly touch on this. So basically, she talks about why Finn was kicked out. And she said, I we knew it was going to happen. And I took a page out of your playbook. And, it made her sick calling him family. So we kicked you out. And then she runs down the Judgment Day lineup and how they'll all succeed at WrestleMania. Now, last week, I saw a lot of people, or not last week, but a few weeks ago, I saw people praising the original Liv Morgan promo, where it was her walking through something of the backstage area, cutting a promo on Stephanie Vaquer. And they're like, oh, it was so well shot. And I gave it shit on In the Weeds because of the way that it was actually framed, where it went from a 16:9 to a letterbox frame. And they kept doing that randomly. And it was so bad. This time, at least they kept it to whenever she spoke, it was in the letterbox. Whenever they showed outside stuff, it was in the 16:9. I give them that. Production was better. The swap framing is still something you shouldn't do. So there you go. There's my production bit of the week. But it all goes into Stephanie Vaquer defeating Raquel Rodriguez. This was another match that was really, really well done. Raquel Rodriguez, week after week, continues to prove that she is so good at doing this big woman wrestler shit. She's so solid in the ring, and she's so comfortable in her character right now that she can almost do no wrong. I thought that Stephanie was the right opponent for her, and Stephanie getting the win, even though we had to get, Io Sky came out to even out the odds, and she gets involved through the finish. But in the end, Vaquer does get the win with rolling up the Tejana bomb for the win. Don't sleep on Raquel Rodriguez. That's all I can say about this. But everyone in this match did their part and looked really good. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I thought the match was good. I think Raquel has really improved. She's already a good wrestler, but I think that they finally put it together with her on the main roster with Judgment Day. I thought she looked incredible in the Elimination Chamber match. Was the highlight of that match. A lot of people wanted her to win that match. And I think she's come out of it with more momentum. It sure seems like they're setting up the match with Io for TV in the weeks to come because, of course, Raquel cost Io the gauntlet match last week. And then, of course, she also was the person that kept Io out of the Elimination Chamber match. I think that's going to be a strong match for her. I just wonder, where do you go from there? But if you're just littering the road to WrestleMania with these Raquel matches so that you have her set as an opponent for somebody after WrestleMania, I think that's really smart.
Jason PS3, which I believe means that there is somewhere Jason PS4 and PS5, says, judging by what happened tonight, it looks like Io is going to be added to the Women's Championship match. I don't necessarily think so. I think she was more just sticking up for a friend and evening the odds as a babyface.
Yeah, I don't buy that she's going to be added. I still think either she's going to end up in this tag match somehow, or we're going to somehow get Io Asuka at WrestleMania.
Yeah, I'm trying to think because they did the breakup with, well, not the breakup, but the Rhea saying see you later, and then Io said I'm going to find my own way to WrestleMania, and it would make no sense for her to then not be a part of WrestleMania unless she's off the card and then she goes after, let's say Rhea wins and she goes after Rhea for the Women's Undisputed title.
Yeah, unless she's going to wrestle Julia, which I don't think makes a ton of sense.
Julia's been set for Tiffy.
Yeah, so it kind of seems like it has to be something on Raw. You have two people from Raw already that won Elimination Chamber and Royal Rumble in the main title matches. So I don't really get the feeling that you're going to put another Raw wrestler in one of those matches.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see again where Io fits in. Again, some people talking about the triple threat, the idea that Io can find another tag partner, but I don't know who because her best tag partner is currently going for the Women's Undisputed title. So.
Bring back Charlie.
Yeah,
that's the only way. Bring back King Coda, man. That's the only way.
Listen, she showed that with some time off, she was back to 120%. So why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you do it? Jeremiah John caps us off tonight. I would have loved if Roman said Punk shoots blanks, and that's why he doesn't have a family. Jesus Christ!
Wow. Wow.
So like. The reality is like Roman can get away with that because he has all those kids. Like every time he would leave, there'd be another kid being born. So like he could at least, he gets away with it because of the status of having so many damn kids and Punk not having kids. So like it makes sense, but it's like the most offhanded remark you can make.
Yeah. I mean, he could have done something like that. Even if he would have been like, listen, I don't have to do certain things to defend my family. I've already done everything I need to do to make my family the biggest deal in this company, to lead my family into the future. Well, you wouldn't know nothing about that. You don't have a family.
Well, we got plenty of family over on Fightful Select. We're dropping news every day. News is our family, and we're inviting you in. It also costs, but it's worth it. We have a free tier too. But anyway, you can subscribe to Fightful Select. Phil, tell them what you got going on and what's coming up.
Yeah, we're going to be reviewing AEW Revolution on Grapsity's YouTube channel tomorrow at 1 p.m. Eastern Time, noon in the very fine city of Chicago and the rest of the Central Time Zone. Then we'll be back on this very YouTube channel on Saturday at noon Eastern, our regularly scheduled time for Grapsity. So yeah, tune in for that. I don't think I have anything else to plug.
Easy peasy.
Easy peasy.
I'm in the weeds 5 days. Well, I'm not 5 days a week, but the show is 5 days a week over on Fightful Overbooked. That's our sister channel. It's 10 a.m. Eastern. We do the show. We talk about everything, not just wrestling, but everything else. Jeremy Lambert, SP3, myself, some combination of us, along with some guests along the way. We talk about everything. So go check that out. Leave a thumbs up on the way out, folks, and tell Sean that we're the best co-hosts that he's ever had or something. I don't know. Just make something up nice that Sean thinks we did a good job. So in the meantime, ladies and gentlemen, friends of me on the binary, we'll see you in the next one.